So let's practice code deploy. So for this, we'll go to the code deploy service and we are greeted with a get started now. So as you can see, we can upload code to Amazon S3 or GitHub and then deploy the code and then track the status of the deployment. So this is the idea of what we learned before. Let's click on get started. And so we are going to choose sample deployments, okay? Because we're new code deploy users and we don't want to do too much. If you do custom deployments, you're going to have a lot of work to do. So click on sample deployments and blue-green will actually be done in the next lecture. Let's go and start with in-place deployments. So this one says updates the instances in the deployment group with the latest application revision, and each instance will be briefly taken offline for its updates. So that sounds good. We'll click on next. Now we have to create some instances. So as I said, code deploy does not create instances for you. This is just a setup wizard to create some fake instances or sample instances for us to use. So we'll have Linux. They run a T2 micro. We'll have the EC2 tutorial key pair attached to it. And as you can see, we set up a tag and value, so name code deploy demo. This is instances launched, not through code deploy, just launched with this wizard. And so we click on launch instances. And as you can see, it says we're launching your instances now. And what happens is that we have 35 steps to wait for. And these 35 steps happen in CloudFormation. So if we click here, we haven't seen exactly what CloudFormation is yet, but we're coming very soon. And so we can see here that CloudFormation is running. And so this code deploy sample stack is in create in progress status. And it will do one thing. It will create up to 3 Amazon EC2 instances with an associated, etc. And so basically we need to wait for this to happen. And so for this, we'll go back straight to the code deploy and just wait for the 35 steps to complete. So now it says your instances are ready to continue, choose next. So before that, let's go to EC2 and check that indeed our instances are ready. So we click on instances and here we see that we have 3 code deploy demo instances running for us. So this is definitely going to be working, and let's look at what they are in particular. I'm just going to SSH into one of them. So I click here, I say yes, and so I'm in SSH now. And if I just do sudo service code deploy agent status, we should be seeing that the AWS code deploy agent is running on my EC2 instances. So what I told you before, it's really, really important for your instances to be running the code deploy agent, and basically the CloudFormation template that we've just launched ensure that the code deploy agent was indeed installed and running. So this is great. Now I can go to my code deploy management and click on next. And here we're going to create an application came demo application. That sounds good. We can download the sample application that will be used. So I'll click on download sample bundle. And basically it says, okay, I'm going to deploy this application right here. So let's click on next. We have to create a deployment group. And so we'll say, okay, we'll create a demo fleet. And basically you can add instances because by tags, if you search for them, the name is code deploy demo. So basically all these instances that have the name code deploy demo will be added to this deployment group, demo fleet. Click on next. And the service role, we're going to create a service role and we could preview the policy right here, the IAM policy. Done, click on next. And here we can say, okay, what type of deployment configuration do we want? Do we want one at a time, half at a time, or all at once? And so here you can definitely see what is the deployment behavior and what is the example in case there is a success or a failure. So you can definitely look at it. I invite you to do this in your own time, but I think we've seen this many, many times. One instance time would be the longest, half a minute time will be half as long, the middle shortest, and then all at once will take all your application down and back up, so you may get some downtime. I'll select this one and click on next. And here we get the review deployment details. We can just make changes, but everything looks good. Let's click on deploy. And so now we get into the deployment. So we have to wait for deployment to happen. And so basically what it will do is that it will update the applications in place. So my 3 EC2 instances right here, they will be updated thanks to the appspec.yaml file. So we can look at what the revision is, how things work, everything looks good here, who initiated and what. And so as you can see, it was quite quick to do, but as we can see here, the deployment is in progress and we're almost done with it. but the instances will be running the application very quickly. If you click on one of the instances and you click on view events, you can view all the events that happened. So we can see that there was an application stop, download bundle, before install, install, after install, application start, and validate service. So this one just worked and took a little bit of time, but everything was green and everything's working. So here we get a deployment succeeded, which is quite nice. We can go back to the deployments and we can see that all the deployment that happened in place, how long they took. I mean, this is super, super nice, I think. And you can get a little dashboard view as well right here. So this is good. Now let's go ahead and just visualize our application. So to view the deployment, we can go to EC2 and click on one of these instances, use the public DNS here. I'll copy it and paste it. And we can see, congratulations, the application was deployed using AWS Code Deploy. And this is great. I mean, we can access our application from any of these 3 instances right here. So now you maybe wonder like how does this happen and what was deployed onto the instances. So let's go ahead and see this. So this is the content of the zip file that was uploaded onto our EC2 machines, and I could download it straight from the wizard. And so as we can see, there's a bunch of files, but more importantly, there's an appspec.yaml file right here, which basically shows us how the deployment was done. So it defined a set of files. So for example, it said that the index.html file from here, so this one, this index.html file should be placed into the var www html folder. So let's just double check that this happened. So let's just do an ls into var html www html folder, and yes, we'd see index.html. So if we cat the file just to see the contents, so index.html, yep, we see that the same sample deployment file get put onto this directory. So this is what this file block was doing. And now if we look at the hooks, the hook, the first one that got run is actually called application stop. So it's a bit confusing to have it after the before install. So let's just go right here. The first thing that happened was an application stop. And so the application stop ran the script stop server script with a timeout of 300 seconds. So if we look at script, there is a stop server script that ran the instruction in there. Then we had a before install hook, and it installed the dependencies. So we can see the install dependency script that just ran yum install httpd. Excellent. And then the second script that was run is start server. So start server is service httpd start. And that's it. So the appspec.yaml really allowed us to customize how we wanted this application to be deployed. And so what I want you to remember is that the format of the file, there's a file section right here, and there's a bunch of hooks. And remember, the application stop goes before install. And as you can see, other hooks were not specified because every hook is optional. So I hope that was helpful. Now we're just going to clean up whatever we created because it's very important. So the first thing we have to do is go to CloudFormation. And in CloudFormation, you right click and you delete the stack. So it's called code deploy sample stack. And yes, you delete it, and this will take a bit of time. So I'll just wait a second. So when the stack is deleted, we can see in the EC2 console, if I refresh, that's my 3 instances code deploy demo get terminated. So this is great. Now we go to my code deploy UI, and here is a deployment. So I can click on the application. And here I can see this deployment group, and I'm going to do an action. I'm going to delete that deployment group. It's called demo fleet. So I'll just copy and paste the name of the demo fleet to delete it. Yes, delete. Excellent. And then I go on the bottom right and I click on delete application. And this is a demo application. So I'll go ahead and paste this. So it's going to be deleted, delete, and we're done. We have just cleaned up our stack, and AWS Code Deploy now just greets us again with the get started now. So I hope you liked it. That was the first starter of AWS Code Deploy, and I will see you in the next lecture.